For your latest information, get expert opinion on an issue affecting us as Malaysians and citizens of the world. When we go face to face with our guests on Thursdays at 11:15 a.m. Only on TRAXXfm.
A very good morning on a lovely Thursday. Otto with you till 2 p.m. today on Trax Momentum, and it's the interview feature hour, and it's face-to-face, of course, with regards to this particular topic. Increase of overnight policy rate, OPR, impact to Keluarga Malaysia, and our special guest is Dr. Muhammad Afzanizam Abdul Rashid. He's the Chief Economist from Bank Islam Malaysia Berhad, and he's been there for about 9 years, and is a perfect person to talk about the OPR. Good morning, Dr. Nizam.
Morning, Otto.
Listening to you loud and clear over there. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm sure you're pressed for time. And without further ado, the rise of overnight policy rate, or OPR, is the government's efforts to revive the economy as the country transitions to the endemic stage. Am I correct?
Well, to some degree, yes. I think it's more like an adjustment to the current policy setting. Because the existing economic condition has showing some of good traction in terms of economic recovery. We saw our Q1 GDP numbers came in at about 5% growth, which is more than what economists have been expecting. And therefore, the degree of monetary policy accommodation. So what it means is that the degree of help coming from the monetary policy would need to be adjusted upwards, because there's not much, urgent need to pump the economy through monetary stimulus, because the economy started to showing good signs of economic recovery. So essentially, that what it means with the recent announcement by the negara.
So what is the function actually for the overnight policy rate, OPR?
Yeah. Essentially, OPR is a benchmark interest rate. It shows the stand of the monetary policy administered by the Bank Negara of Malaysia. When there is economic calamities like what we saw in the past 2 years because of COVID-19, typically the monetary policy will try to come in and help the economy by way of cutting down the OPR in order to stimulate the economy. Just for the record, prior to the pandemic in 2020, the OPR was hovering around 3% at the end of December 2019. But when the pandemic struck, the OPR was brought down to as low as 1.75% in July 2020. So you can see in a span of less than a year, the OPR rate was cut quite significantly, simply because the Bank Negara wanted to provide assistance to the economy. So when the OPR is cheap, when the OPR is low, meaning the cost of funds, the cost of bond become low. So that could actually help to incentivize businesses, households to get further financing, so that it can re-energize the economy.
Okay. Yeah. So when it comes to re-energize the economy, so who does this actually affect?
Well, of course, various economic actors will be affected, be it households, businesses, and even the government. For household, on the financing side, I mean households and businesses, for those who are having financing facilities that has variable rate features in their financing contract, they could see a slight increase in terms of their monthly repayments. But on the other hand, in terms of the deposits, those who are having excess funds, who wanted to place their money in the bank deposits, especially for fixed deposits, they would stand to benefit more, because they would be able to be compensated with higher deposit rates, meaning to say that they could be able to get a better returns by investing in the bank deposits. So it's always two-pronged. On the lending side, there will be some increment in terms of the monthly repayments, but on the other side, in terms of deposits, the depositors would stand to gain in terms of getting more returns.
Now that you've mentioned how important it is, how does the overnight policy rate, or OPR, affect loans in general, and what are the steps to be taken by those affected, which affects those to avoid issues regarding this matter?
Right. Obviously, this is actually issues relating to financial literacy. Of course, as an individual, as a businessman, perhaps they would have to be cognizant about their surroundings and look at how their liabilities, been behaving. So, if there is a need for them to perhaps to looking back at their financing, they should be able to talk to their bankers. Perhaps for those who are having some difficulties, who wanted to get some financial advice, institution like AKPK would be the best thing to do, because they would offer a free of charge services in terms of giving advice. Mm-hmm. So what it means is that every societies during this time must be able to look back their finances and take note and become cognizant their surrounding and what should be the right steps to do in order to make them better going forward.
All right, thank you very much, Doctor. We're currently talking to Dr. Muhammad Afzanizam Abdul Rashid. He's the Chief Economist at Bank Islam Malaysia Berhad. He's been there for more than 9 years, and other industries as well. And we're talking about the increase of overnight policy rate, OPR, impact to Keluarga Malaysia. Now, if you have any comments or you just like to say hello, you can do so right now on our Facebook Live at TRAXXfm Official, TRAXXfm OFFICIAL. And just to say a quick hello to everybody currently live right now, we have I remember there's Jaya Kumar. Yes, there's Jairaj Subramaniam says, good morning, DJ Otto and special guest Dr. Muhammad Afzanizam. It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you so much. Pro Deebs, we have also Liman Hui and Patricia Lim Li Chiang as well. And Atux Muhammad and Hang Ku Lian. Thank you very much. Please do join us as well. Leave a comment. Should you have any questions, inquire about the particular matter, because the good Dr. Nizam won't be here for very long, so we're going to catch him and ask him any questions that you want, particular to this particular topic. All right. Meantime, we have a short break, and we'll be right back. For now, it's back to more music right here on Tracks. Coming to you live from Angkasa Puri, Kuala Lumpur, Otto with you till 2 p.m. today. And the interview feature for today is with Dr. Muhammad Afzanizam Abdul Rashid. He's the Chief Economist of Bank Islam Malaysia Berhad, and we're talking about the increase of overnight policy rate, or OPR, impact to Keluarga Malaysia. Once again, thank you very much, Doctor, for being here with us.
Sure.
All right. So thank you so much for those who are actually participating in our Facebook Live right now. Yes, we are live. So should you have any queries about today's topic, you can always leave us a comment right there. All right. Meantime, it's back to this question. Now, if you didn't know what is OPR, the overnight policy rate, well, it's basically the interest rate price of money, which is indicated for monetary policy administered by Bank Negara Malaysia. Am I correct, Doctor?
Yeah, more or less.
More or less.
That's about it, yeah.
But thank you so much for that. Now, next question is, should a person actually be aware of the overnight policy rates, and why?
Yeah, certainly yes, because it indicates the government's policies and how the government is, in this case, the central bank is trying to respond to the present or the prevailing economic conditions. Because when we become aware and become cognizant, and perhaps we will be able to, make a better decision, make an informed decision, mm-hmm. especially on financial-related matters. Mm-hmm. Typically, when there is changes in OPR, it indicates something.
Oh.
It indicates what state of the economy actually.
So in your opinion, what is the state of our economy currently?
Right. Actually, the economy is recovering. Mm-hmm. So therefore, the amount or the dosage of so-called quote-unquote medical prescription, perhaps in the case of economic, in this case it's monetary policy, mm-hmm. would need to be reduced, because there are signs that the economy is recovering. Mm. So in a way, what it means is that when there is a rising OPR, it shows that the economy is doing well, it's getting better.
It's recovering, I see.
Yeah, as opposed to when the OPR was reduced, like what happened in the past 2 years. Yeah, like I mentioned in my earlier speech, mm-hmm. when the OPR was cut from 3% to 1.75%. That's 1.25% cut in a matter of less than 1 year. So that shows the degree or the urgency of the central bank mm-hmm. To help the economy or otherwise the economy would be in much worse condition.
I see.
So now we are seeing those stimulus, those medical prescription, quote unquote, is being gradually removed. So we are. The economy is healing, so to speak. So that's what it really means.
Could this increase probably pose as well that because of our investments from other countries coming into Malaysia could be one of the factors why the increase is there to show value towards our country?
To some degree, you can say that too as well. But I think, in general, what it means is that the central bank assessment, the economy is getting better, and therefore the monetary policy assistance would need to be reduced. So that's what it means. So
I see.
The takeaway from this, as an investor, it means that there is opportunity to be invested here, because the economy started to grow. And when the economy is growing, then the companies are able to record better sales, better margins. So that's generally what it means, and this takeaway can be beneficial for as an investor. Yeah.
Now, that was for investors. Now, coming to our Malaysian people as an individual, can you give us an example of how this affects people financially?
Well, typically, OPR is embedded in the base rate, or rather, what is the rates being charged to the customers. Yeah. So typically, financing facilities that uses a variable rate. In the case of house financing, personal financing, or even the business loans. So there is features in that whenever there is a change in OPR, the base rate will actually change accordingly. So what it means is that those who are opting for this type of financing would see their monthly installment will be slightly increased. It will depend on the size of the loan. The bigger the loan size, obviously they have to pay a bit more. But generally the increment is very, very minimal. So this is where I think if for some reason the customer may not be, like this kind of features, they can always opt for, or rather refinance their existing facilities to be on a fixed rate. Since we, foresee that there could be a series of OPR hike in the future.
I see. So how does it actually help to improve and accelerate positive effects to our economy?
Well, you have to think this way. Like I said, the changes in OPR reflect the state of the economy. Let's say if the OPR is being left untouched, remain the same, low for the longest period. So it can actually incentivize this negative behavior, like excessive risk taking, because the investment in the bank deposit is low. And at the same time, we also understand in future the Bank Negara would want to respond further. Meaning to say the prospect of the economy, let's say in the next 2 or 3 years, we never know. But if let's say there is economic calamities again, there is a need for the Bank Negara to respond by way of cutting down the OPR. So by raising the OPR now, it's actually the central bank is trying to build up their monetary buffers, the space for them to respond in the future. Otherwise, if the rates are kept low for too long, by the time there is economic calamities, economic shocks, then they would have a limited means to respond. Meaning the limited means to cut down further in terms of OPR. So that's what really means in terms of the benefits to our economy when the central bank decided to increase the OPR.
Okay, thank you very much, Doctor, for that very graphic design as well. Thank you so much. We're talking to Dr. Muhammad Afzanizam Abdul Rashid. He's the Chief Economist of Bank Islam Malaysia Berhad. He's been the Chief Economist there for more than 9 years. And we're talking about increase of overnight policy rate, OPR, the impact to Keluarga Malaysia. And we'll be right back. But up next, we're going to ask the good doctor about how do we stand economically. And looking at our Facebook live right now Facebook page, just like to say hello to those who are actually online. We have Georgia Joffrey is watching currently. We have saying that listening to TRAXXfm. Thank you very much, Georgie. Now we have Tam Yeng Xiang who has a question for there. But if you have any questions, we will definitely gladly answer it by the end of the segment. Okay, so keep your questions right now. If you want to type it right now, type it right now because we're going to keep it for the end of the show. We also have Boniface Philip. We have Josephine Betty and also Wang Shuang Chi and Zainal Zain Ibrahim is watching live right now. Thank you so much. Please remember to share and also like this Facebook Live. We'll take a short break and follow up with the next question with regards to where do we stand economically here in Malaysia as well as the world. For now, we have a short break. Stay tuned.
For your latest information, get expert opinion on an issue affecting us as Malaysians and citizens of the world. When we go face to face with our guests on Thursdays at 11:15 a.m. Only on TRAXXfm.
Otto with you till 2 p.m. today on Tracks Momentum with the interview feature of the day. Thank you so much for joining us till this time. We're talking to Dr. Muhammad Afzanizam Abdul Rashid. He's the Chief Economist of Bank Islam Malaysia Berhad. He's been there for more than 9 years, and we're talking about the increase of overnight policy rate, OPR, the impact to Keluarga Malaysia. Thank you so much, Doctor, for being with us. Dr. Nizam, next question is with regards to OPR, of course. Can you tell us where do we actually stand economically as a country prior to COVID-19? During it and, of course, our current economic state?
Well, I think the present economic condition is gradually improving. I think in the past 2 years, we saw the numbers, the economic statistic was very challenging. Yeah? For instance, the unemployment rate, prior to pandemic, it was hovering around 3.1, 3.3%. That's normal. But because of the pandemic issues, it struck starting in March 2020. It went up to as high as 5.3%. And then it's slowly, gradually declining to a rate of 4.3% at the end of December 2021. And now it's actually hovering around 4.1%. So you can see from 3% plus, it went up to 5.3%, it went on to 4.3%, and now 4.1%. So meaning to say that because of pandemic, yes, people are losing their jobs, but now because of the economy is recovering, there will be more jobs available to Malaysian citizens, so the economy starts to gain more further momentum. And it is being reflected in the latest gross domestic product, which essentially showing you the level of economic activities now. In 2020, during the pandemic, during its height, the economy actually contracted. Yeah, it fell by 5.6%, but in 2021 it's slowly improving to 3.1%. But now, as I said, in the first quarters, we saw our GDP has actually growing at a rate of 5%. So we are improving. But having said that, it's not walk in the park, lah. Also,
yes,
definitely there will be challenges ahead. And now the main challenges now is on inflation. Rising cost of living. So those are I would say evergreen issue. I would say, but I believe the government has what it takes in terms of addressing those issues. But generally, things are getting better. But of course, there are always downside risks along the way.
Now, one of the questions which our Facebook participants actually ask is the rising of OPR with regards to, is it significant in terms of fixed interest for those income for their daily survival, and how many actually are pensioners who might might like the Treasury for life? I mean, is the government going to formulate anything with regards to the policy for lifelong support of the B40 groups? Now, is it good for them as well, or in a way?
Okay, it's actually there are lots of economic policies. Monetary is only one of them, and then it is being run by central bank. And other policies like fiscal policies, of course, it is being governed by our federal government, our state government, and those are the policies. So there's a lot of economic policies that is intertwined. Yeah, but of course, monetary policy is one of the key policies because it revolves around money. It revolves around how money is being priced, how the cost of money is being managed. Because at the end of the day, businesses would require money to do their business, and similarly, our society, our household also requires money for them to spend, for them to invest, and for so many purposes lah. So each problem requires different type of prescription. So if you talk about the low income group, obviously fiscal policy would be more relevant, because there's what we call that policies on income transfers, like your BKM, and of course subsidies, price control. So those are under the ambit of the fiscal policy, not under monetary policy. So we need to be able to differentiate those areas.
Oh, thank you for that. So now, the increase in overnight policy rate, OPR, is it an appropriate measure taken now, especially? Is it the right time?
Right. I think, like I said, the central bank is trying to make sure that they are always prepared for any eventualities. Now that we are seeing good traction in terms of the economy, now is the time to remove some of the assistance, so that they will be better prepared going forward. Who knows? 2 or 3 years down the road, there will be another round of recession. So if they start their move now and build up their buffers, but if there is economic calamities happen in the next 2 or 3 years, they are well prepared. So they are in a ready state for them to react. So I think that should be the thinking why the central bank, in this case Bank Negara, has started to begin to increase their OPR.
Okay, so how does this move actually? Is there anything else that you'd like to add when it comes to this overnight policy rate that people should know?
Sure. I understand that this topic can be quite technical, but I think in this day and age, it is important for everyone of us to be cognizant, to be aware of all this development, because it affects our lives directly, I would say. By having the right information, the right assessment, then each and every one of us will be able to make a better decision. Otherwise, we will be so emotional and we will be misinformed, and that will be a waste of time.
And that's usually the case. We're always misinformed, or we're lacking information. But thank you very much for that clarification when it comes to the overnight policy rate and other stuff. So, brief rundown on what happened today is that the overnight policy rate, for those who do not know, is an interest rate price of money, which is indicated by the monetary policy administered by the Bank Negara Malaysia, and it has to do with something. When it comes to increase in the policy rate, that means that the economy is doing well, and there are certain things that can be actually let go when it comes to rates and all that. Is that correct, Doctor? Am I putting it correctly?
Yes. Very well put.
Thank you so much. And now, knowing that our economy is going in the right direction, and we're trying to buffer should any calamities ever happen again here in Malaysia, touch wood, we should actually be prepared. So, like what you said, Doctor, it's always better to be, prevention is better than cure. So one of it is actually making sure that everybody knows about the overnight policy rate and other monetary finances as well, assistance which the Bank Negara is actually giving out. So before I let you go, is there any final advice you'd like to tell our listeners right now, before I let you go?
Well, I think my advice is please read up more. I think with the proliferation of social media, I think there's a lot of information in there. But be mindful on the what's right and what's wrong. So use your judgment.
All right. Thank you so much, Doctor, for your time. It's been a pleasure and very enlightening for me as well to actually talk about the overnight policy rate, OPR, and other factors as well. So thank you once again, and I hope that we can keep in touch next time.
Sure, Otto.
All right. Take care, Doctor. All right, so there you have it. We had Dr. Muhammad Afzanizam Abdul Rashid. He's the Chief Economist of Bank Islam Malaysia Berhad, and we were talking about the increase of overnight policy rate OPR, the impact to Keluarga Malaysia. So remember to read up. So things might be a little pricey at certain times, but it's all good because we're trying to buffer ourselves should any calamity happen. So remember to always stay aware of what's happening around you. So this is the best time for you to actually buffer up on your business, buffer up on your personal finances as well, and be aware. All right. In the meantime, it's back to more music. We have the news coming up at the top of the hour. And thank you so much for those who are tuning in via our Facebook Live. And please stay in tune because tomorrow will be the same time, same frequency as well. We'll be back on air. All right. In the meantime, it's back to more music right here on TRAXXfm. Good morning, Malaysia. Be inspired, informed, and up to date. Tune in to TRAXX Momentum interview feature of the day at 11:15 a.m. Join us as we speak to our panel of guests on various topics. Health on TRAXX on Monday. Tuesday, Spectrum. Wednesday, What Matters? Face to face with our guests on Thursdays. And on Friday, tune in to W Talk. TRAXX Momentum, Monday to Friday, 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. only on TRAXXfm.